Welcome back to the Print 3D channel. On this episode, we're going to design, model, and print our very own MakerCoin, so stick around. Welcome back, and thank you for joining me here on the Print 3D channel. I've noticed a lot of the other YouTube creators have been modeling and posting up their MakerCoins, so I thought it was time for the Print 3D channel to throw our hat in the ring. So in Cinema 4D, we're going to do a little bit of modeling, and then we're going to print it out on the gMax 1.5 XT Plus. And then we're going to do a couple of multicolor prints using the change filament command using a single extruder. So let's head over to Cinema 4D and begin modeling. Okay, so here we are in Cinema 4D. Here is the Print 3D channel MakerCoin. This thing turned out pretty awesome. I love the way this looks. This is just a render in the picture viewer. I just wanted to show you what the final product would look like. So let's close out of here. And here's my working file. And as you can see over here in the object manager, we have two different extrudes, and then we have an array of stuff going on here using an array. And basically what this is I have a cylinder using an array with smaller cylinders cutting out the notches along the edge. So I'll show you how I did this. So basically let's take the cylinder out of that collection there, and let's shut off everything else. And we'll turn those two pieces off too. And here's our cylinder. Now let's switch over to gouache shading lines so you can see the segments I have. So here's my cylinder. It's 40 millimeters in radius with a 10 millimeter height, and I have 12 rotation segments. I also put some caps on here, some fillet caps. They have 5 segments and they're a 2 millimeter radius. That'll give us our curved edge. And the reason why I have flat sides on here is I didn't want to have a curved MakerCoin. I wanted my coin to be a little bit more unique and have flat edges. So the next thing I did was I set up this array. And here's how this looks. Let's make sure we turn off all of our text objects. And let's turn on the coin itself. Let's go back into here. And this is the array object. And what this is an array. And you can find this under this menu. Here's the array object. And basically what it does is it creates copies into a certain pattern, whether it be round, circle, square, however you want them to set up. And I made a cylinder. And our cylinder here is just used to knock out the spaces. So the only thing that was important was its size and its rotation segments. I wanted to make sure it was totally smooth. So I made a little 7.5 millimeter radius with a height of 15 millimeters, so it's higher than the coin. And I made 36 rotation segments. And then I dropped it into this array. So if I pull it out of here, you can see it's just a single cylinder. And we drop it into the array. We make it a child, which means it's underneath. And if you select the array, you can see I have a radius of 40 millimeters, which matches the 40 millimeter cylinder that we created for the actual coin. So if we go back to the array, we have 11 copies. Now I used 11 copies, but you can use as many copies as you want depending on how you're using your array. So for mine I used 11. And the reason why I did this, and I'll show you. If we turn on our cylinder object, I wanted these to all land right on the turn here, right where the polygons end and it makes its next section. So there'd be flat edges here, and we'd have some nice rounding, plus we have our bevel going on. And the bevel is on both sides. Here, I'll show you. The bevel is actually on both sides. So this will make it easier to get up off the print bed, and it gives it a little more unique flair. So that I have that done. Now we put all these objects together into this connect object. And to create the cylinder, what I did was I used a bool object. But first I needed to connect everything. So we have our cylinder. Let's put that into the coin. And let's put our array in here, into the connect object, so it makes it one object. And you can see right away it already knocked out everything. So if we turn off the bool, you can see all of our cylinders going around, all 11 of them, landing in their proper positions. And the reason why I used the connect object is so all of these would connect into one object, and the bool will see it as one object. And this is handy for doing small things like this. So let's turn on the bool, and there you go. It notched out everything how we wanted it. So that was perfect. So that's the coin. So let's turn that off. And let's turn everything else back on for the type. For the text portion, I just used the spline object. And these are a text spline. And I set up my parameters down here. And I wanted a 36 millimeter high. And this is for the 3D. So this part here is 36 millimeters tall. But it's laying on its side, so it's still 36 millimeters tall. And for print and channel, it's the same thing. I used a text spline in each one of these. And I set up my parameters. But what I did was I wanted this to be a little bit higher. So you can see when we add our coin back in, that the text is at different levels. Channel and print are at a lower level than 3D, and I thought that gave it a very unique look. And it very much matches the Print 3D channel logo as I have it now. So basically we are grafting the Print 3D channel logo right onto our MakerCoin. And again, I didn't want to cut into the MakerCoin itself and create all this extra geometry, or have to create some sort of holder device that would print out perfectly to hold our pieces in place, just in case you had some floating objects. So I wanted mine to match my logo, and that's what I came up with. So the last thing you need to do is connect all these things. These need to be converted to objects, and we need to separate these two objects out, so print and channel are two different things. And the easiest thing to do is just to duplicate it. So if you click and drag holding down your command key, you'll make another copy. And we'll just take out channel from one and print from the other. And now we have our two objects and they have the same parameters. And now we can start making these editable so we can use a bool object to join everything together. So we'll go ahead and go current state to object. We'll get rid of our original. We'll go into this piece here, and we don't need the rear caps. So we'll remove those right away. And we'll take these two items and we'll go connect objects and delete, and that creates our first, and there's print. And we don't need this extra null object that was created from the convert to object command. So now we'll go up to 3D and do the same. Current state to object. We'll get rid of our extrude type. We'll open up 3D and make sure we grab everything we need. So we have cap 1 and cap 2. Cap 1 is the bottom, so we can delete that, and then we'll just select each one of these holding down the command key, and we'll connect objects and delete, and we'll drag that out, and we'll get rid of our null object. Now we'll do the same for channel. Current state to object, get rid of the extrude, open up the tree, make sure we grab the cap 1, which is the rear cap, take the two objects, make sure they're selected holding down the command key, connect objects and delete, pull it out of the null object, delete the null. Now we have our coin, which is already set up and it looks great. So all we have to do here is go current state to object. We'll get rid of this. We'll open up the coin. We'll connect our two pieces. Connect objects and delete. And now we have our base of our coin, get rid of our null. Now we can join these all together. And you should do these one at a time. So you grab your bool object. We'll drop the cylinder in. We'll drop in print, and I like to keep these in order. Select our bool, make sure we're at union. We want to create a single object, and we want to hide our new edges. We'll go current state to object. Now we have print and the cylinder, which is our base. We'll get rid of these two items. We'll drag this back into the bool. Let's make sure we get rid of that null. We don't need that. And now let's add channel. And we're doing the same thing. We have our same union, A to B union. High quality, create single object, hide new edges. Current state to object, open up the bool, pull out our part, delete the items from inside the bool, delete the null, and then drop in our two final pieces. Now we have print 3D channel all set up on our coin. Current state to object, get rid of the bool, we're all done. Pull out our full piece, delete the null, and now we have a print ready file. And we can get rid of all these extra tags that were created. We don't need those. Let's select our model. Let's go into polygon mode. Let's make sure we have our selection. Let's do select all. And you can see that all of our normals are aligned. So this turned out perfectly. So we don't have to realign any normals. It looks like our file is ready for print. So the next thing we would need to do is go to export, STL file, make sure we have found a location, and that's a good one, and make sure we are set up in millimeters and hit export. And there you go. Now let's head over to Simplify 3D and slice this up and get it ready for printing on the gMax 1.5 XT Plus using MatterHackers PRO PLA filament. Okay, so here we are in Simplify 3D. I've already dropped the coin down onto the print bed, and it looks pretty cool. I can't wait to get started. Let's check out my process settings real quick here. For the layer height, I'm going to do a 0.16 layer height. And this is to get as much detail as possible because we have that really fine type on the top, and I want it to look really good. And for the top layer, I want to make sure that thing is very smooth. So we're going to do 5 top layers. On the bottom, I'm going to do 4, and we're going to do 3 perimeters. I'm going to run my traditional skirt, this time at 12 millimeters from the object, 4 times around, just 1 layer. For infill, I've calculated this out, and 17% I think works the best. We're not going to need any support material because this object is pretty flat. For temperature, this is MatterHackers PRO PLA, and anywhere between 200 and 205 is a safe temperature. For cooling, we're going to use a 3-stage method. And the reason why I'm doing this is I noticed that when I kick on the fan at any percentage over 60%, it cools off the extruder pretty fast. So we're going to do 3 stages. We're going to start with 0. On the 3rd layer, we're going to do 60. And then at the 4th layer, we're going to do 80. For speed, we're going to drop this down to 35 millimeters per second because we have a lot of type detail on the top of the MakerCoin that I'm really concerned about. And I want to make sure that turns out awesome. So this all looks pretty good. Let's go ahead and hit OK. And let's hit prepare to print. All right, that was nice and quick. Let's zoom in here. Okay, it looks like the channel type might be a little bit too small for the nozzle width and the extrusion what we have set up. But honestly, I think that looks pretty cool, even with this little bit of infill that's going on here. And let's check it out. Let's go ahead and send this to the printer. I want to see how this turns out. Because if it can hold this detail, that's pretty awesome. And I think that adds to the MakerCoin. It says it's going to take 1 hour and 39 minutes. And I'm sure that's pretty accurate for Simplify 3D. So let's go ahead and hit play and see how this prints. It's a small model, but I want to make sure everything looks okay. And I'm curious to see if anything changes on this channel type down here. So let's hit play. And we can see our 17% infill. And then it'll put down our 5 top layers. Well, I think that's going to look pretty cool. And if the gMax 1.5 XT Plus can handle this type, this is going to add to my MakerCoin. But before we send this off to the printer, let's make a note of which layer we want to change our filament add to do a 2-color version of this using a single extruder. So it looks like layer 62, and then 63 is the first layer that'll come up. So on 62 to 63, that's what we'll do our change filament command. And it'll probably print this infill first, so that's how we have it set up in Simplify 3D. So we'll catch it just as it's printing the infill. And this will have a really clean 2-color look. We're going to use quite a few different colors of MatterHackers PRO PLA filament, so I'll set up a time-lapse camera for one of those printouts, and I'll include it at the end of the video. But for now, let's head over to the gMax 1.5 XT Plus and get this printing. Okay, so I ran off quite a few of these. I did quite a few different change filament commands, and I used all of the MatterHackers PRO PLA filament I had to do a couple different color combinations. So the first print I did was in the light blue from MatterHackers PRO PLA. And of course, I'll put some close-ups in at the end of all the different MakerCoins that I ran out. And then I printed one in purple from the MatterHackers PRO PLA line, and that one turned out pretty awesome too. So I kept going with the prints. Then I queued up some of the silver PRO PLA, and I used some purple on the change filament command, and that one turned out pretty great. And then I printed out one in light blue with black, and that one turned out awesome. And then I used black and light blue, and that one turned out awesome. And then I started with purple and black, which are my 2 favorite colors, and these are using the MatterHackers PRO PLA line, and they turned out pretty stellar. And of course, the black with purple. And then recently I ordered some of the gold PRO PLA, this is the shiny gold, and I ran off one of the MakerCoins in that too, and it looks pretty cool. So all in all, those turned out pretty awesome. I'm pretty happy with the MakerCoin as it looks right now. I know there was a little bit of an issue with it not filling in the letters on the word channel, but I think that adds a lot to the coin. So I'm going to keep it that way, and I'm not going to change a thing. So thank you for joining me here on the Print 3D channel as we model and print our very own MakerCoin. I hope you found this interesting and a little bit informative on a little bit of modeling in Cinema 4D. Please remember to subscribe to the channel, comment and like on those videos, and join me again here on the very next episode here on the Print 3D channel. These MakerCoins look pretty cool. They're going to be part of the 500 subscriber giveaway, so stay tuned for that.